Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I posted an interview with Your Persona. They're a great band from New Jersey, and I'll also be posting an interview tomorrow with Visenya, another awesome New Jersey band. Definitely check both of those bands out. They're really killer. Also, I posted an album review of Underow's new record, Erase Me, and I'll be posting an EP review of Castle's new EP as well tomorrow. So definitely check out all those things, and if you like those, please subscribe, please hit that thumbs up. It goes a long way, and thank you guys for your support. But tonight we're going to be talking about the Wonder Years' new record, Sister Cities. So I have a bit of a confession to make. I am not the biggest fan of the Wonder Years. However, when I was listening to the singles, the title track Sister Cities and Pyramids of Salt, I really thought it was a really good, both singles were really good, and I wanted to listen to this record. I kind of was on the fence about it, but once I got the album in hand, it was kind of like a game changer for me, and I definitely wanted to do a review of it. So don't hate on me if I don't know too much about the Wonder Years. I know that they are so close to me. I have seen them many times. I just didn't realize that they were releasing a record, first of all, and secondly, I didn't know that I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. But I'm going to go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on it, go through some pros and cons, and then finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track is called Raining in Kyoto, and I love how the emotions pair super well with the instrumentals. I think that the song and the instrumentals and the vocals really kind of progress together, and as the song gets more and more thought out and more aggressive and a little bit more, like, I wouldn't even say more aggressive, it just, as the song becomes more powerful and more things kind of strike out in the song, it really just is interesting how they all kind of work together to get to that same point. I also love the chorus in the song. It really builds to an awesome point in the song. I feel like it is definitely the focal point of the song in its entirety. I love this sort of emo tinge vibes that I get from it. Very kind of classic sort of emo bands kind of ring in my head as I'm listening to this song, but in a different approach. I also love how Dan's vocals really ride that line between gritty and clean. He's always had that really unique voice. Even if I hadn't listened to the Wonder Years, I just feel like he's just got that nostalgic voice of this time. So really enjoy that. I think it's a great opener track. While it does have some sort of softer moments to it, it really also has a great bit of edge to it as well, and I definitely feel like it's one of the better tracks, if not one of my favorite tracks off the record. So we're going to move into track number 2, which is Pyramids of Salt. Like I mentioned, it was one of the singles, probably the most recent single, and the track starts off with this really ethereal piano synth vibes with just Dan's vocals, and it really gives the opportunity for listeners to really hear Dan's vocal in its most natural state. It really has more of a softer vibe to it, and it also is one of Dan's more tender, sort of softer moments throughout the record. This shows off more of the melodic tendencies of the record, which I think is really refreshing as well. Not only this track, but a few others really have that more melodically driven force on this record, which is really cool. I like that the song picks up energy after the sort of halfway part of the song. Instrumentally, I like the experimentation going along with this one as well. The piano, the sort of faint piano keys really add this awesome dimension to the track, and I feel like the song ends off on a really solid note, a really kind of strong note in my opinion. So we're gonna move into track number 3, which is It Must Get Lonely. I also strike a similarity between the Wonder Years and the way that they're going in comparison to Neck Deep's record from last year. They're taking more of an alternative vibe, more sort of indie approach to the record, and I really appreciate it. I think it's unique. Some memories that resonate with me with this band is that they have very much of a pop punk and pop punk aesthetic to them, and it's cool to see them do something different, something unique, and something off the beaten path for them, and it really works in their favor, especially in this track. Continuing the trend of the more mellowy sort of tracks, and it is just a really well written track. I wouldn't say there isn't anything particularly outstanding about it, but there really isn't anything too terrible about it. I like the harmonization a lot in the bridge. I think that was a nice ode in this song, and it's definitely one of those highlight moments in this song as well. And I like how the energy definitely brings up the I love how the ending brings up the energy in this song. I think overall this one's a solid one, but it kind of is a little bit outside of my favorites for now. So we're gonna move into track number 4, the title track of the album, Sister Cities. This one is the first single that was released, and I like that this song comes out the gate swinging. It really kind of hits you with a force. And the swing of the track, just led by the bass in the verse, is really sick. I think that this one is one of the more refreshing tracks off the record. Again, it kind of plays into the more alternative vibes of this record, but it really works. The melodies are ridiculously catchy on this track, and again, I'm getting that sort of nostalgic emo vibe from this one as well. It's one of the best structured tracks off the record, and it's just one that if you haven't listened to yet, I would highly recommend doing so. So we're going to move into track number 5, which is Flowers Where Your Face Should Be. This one I feel like has some of the softest moments throughout the record, but I like the naturalness of it. I think that, some of the first sort of songs like Pyramids of Salt, even in Rainy in Kyoto and It Must Get Lonely, have those sort of softer moments, but this one is like realistically probably one of the more softer songs, along with another song that I'll talk about in the future, but it really works. Dan's vocals and the guitars take up a good portion of the song as well. The little harmonies where you hear the drums come in with this real subtleness, and I think that it definitely needs to be brought out a little bit more. I think it's a unique aspect of this song, and I would have loved to hear more of it throughout not only this song but throughout the record. I like that they experimented instrumentally. They brought a little bit of xylophone, a violin to accent some of the other instruments via the drums, guitars, vocals, and it just brings this much needed layering effect into the song. I think vocally this is Dan's most expressive tracks. You can really hear the tugs and pulls of his voice. It even kind of, I wouldn't even say it goes out of tune, but it has that sort of like voice break that you would get from any sort of emotional performance. So I really love that, and think that this one is a really solid track. I think it's, again, just outside of my favorites just for that reason, that it's just so emotionally broken, and it's very, you just feel the pain in the lyrics and in the vocals and in the whole song as of itself. It just really resonates with a sort of sadder, sort of dark vibes, and I think that it really works at not only the middle of this record, but I think it kind of transitions into the next song very well too. So we're gonna move into track number 6, which is Heaven's Gate, Sad or Sober. The instrumentals are really unique in this track. I would say more specifically in the verses, and the drumming is really has this unique quality to it. I think it is probably the most unique aspect of this song. It's very reverby, it's very kind of spacious and open, and every time they do that sort of verse part, it's really, every time I was listening to this record, I came back to this one because it just has a uniqueness, and I feel like it's a black sheep on the record just because it has such a different vibe to it than the previous tracks. The chorus is absolutely killer. It's probably my favorite part of the track, and is definitely the focal point. The melodies in the chorus are super infectious, and I love it. Definitely one of the more unique tracks off the record, but I think it's one of the best ones as well too, just because it is so interesting. It's so just unique, and I know that that's a really just bland way to describe it, but it is so interesting, and I'm excited for people to listen to this one because it's just so outside of the box, and I love that about this track. So we're gonna move into track number 7, which is We Look Like Lightning. This one has more of a strong synth approach to it, especially in the intro, and then it bleeds into the rest of the track. My favorite groove in this track in particular is at the 1 minute and 20 second mark to the 2 minutes and 5 second mark. It really shows off the skills of the instruments going on here and just the rest of the band in the Wonder Years. I feel like I've been giving a lot of love to Dan, but the instrumentals in this track is super killer. I would have loved if they carried on that same sort of rhythmic pattern or beat, or had something unique come out of that portion of the track, because it really grooved. And I like that the heavier portion of the track towards the 2 minutes and 45 second mark towards the end has this more heavier, rockier vibe to the track. I think it's really interesting considering how I felt like the song would have carried more of a melodic direction, but it actually went kind of more heavy towards the end and has that sort of melodic beginning. I think that they've done that a lot throughout this record, and it's a unique approach to writing, I think, much like a lot of records that I've been doing. I feel like this one just has a unique turn of events to it. So we're gonna move into track number 8, which is The Ghost of Right Now. This one has probably the most rock feel to it, but I love the energy of this song, and it really builds up to a great point in this record so far. Dan's vocals paired with the heavier instrumentals was something that I've been missing and looking out for in this record so far, and it's really just kind of hit with an awesome force. I think overall it has more of a darker undertone throughout the entire track. It almost kind of reminded me at some points of like older Pierce the Veil, maybe like Selfish Machines or Flair for the Dramatic. It has that sort of like emo kind of post-hardcore kind of like alternative vibe to it, which I think is really good. It's definitely one of the best easily well constructed tracks off the record, and I really loved all aspects of this entire song. I think it is their best representation, along with probably Sister Cities, that I have enjoyed immensely so far on this record. So we're gonna move into track number 9, which is When the Blue Finally Comes. And like I mentioned with Flowers, Where Your Face Should Be, this one is also one of the more softer tracks off the record. It's pretty straightforward. It has, again, more of a softer focus to it, and it focuses more on the guitar and vocal pairing along with that. Nothing really special to it, but I feel like it is more of a kind of intro to the Orange Grove, which is the next track number 10. This one I feel like grooves very well, especially in the chorus. I feel like that is the absolute focal point of the entire song. I like that it has more of Dan's raspier style vocals. It really works well in this song, and it's a nice juxtaposition to the, I wouldn't say softer vibes of the track, but the less aggressiveness of the song, especially in the verses. It really is nice, and I think overall it's a really solid track. I think I would put it just outside of my favorites. It just really was missing just a little extra little pizzazz that I would have loved to hear, maybe like a cool lead, or I know that they've been incorporating a lot of piano or something, or organs. I think that would have been kind of pushed this track over the edge and would have been in my favorites. But we're gonna move into the last track number 11, The Ocean Grew Hands and To Hold Me. This one I feel like is probably the worst track off the record. It really drags, and it doesn't really get into interesting territory until about the vocal point when it comes in. But I feel like the energy in this song really doesn't pick up until around the 4 minute mark, which is well after what I would assume most people would listen to. The song finishes off with a nice big finish, but it's pretty lackluster considering that this track is more on the lines of a 6 minute plus song. I think I would have loved to hear if the ending came a little bit sooner, if the aggressiveness kind of came in and bled into the song a little bit more. I think that would have brought the song to a better point, or if the song was just condensed a little bit more to maybe around the 4 minute mark. It could still be a longer track, but it just felt like it dragged from the beginning and really didn't get out of that zone until around the 3-4 minute mark. Overall, I think the track was solid, but it definitely drags on just at the end, and it kind of sucks because the record has been keeping that same sort of energy, and I would have loved to hear it kind of finish out on a high note. But some pros and cons that I have about this record: vocally, Dan is just kind of a legend in this scene, and I think I would be hard to deny his vocal prowess on this record. I think it is really solid. He's really done some interesting stuff. There are some falsetto moments, there are some gritty moments, there are some moments with great emotion, and I felt like I would be doing this band and this record a injustice if I didn't mention vocally how solid Dan is. I think he did an awesome job. There are some great moments of catchy melodies. I think there's a good amount of experimentation. I know that a lot of their older stuff that I remember is more pop punk, and this one kind of takes more of an alternative rock, even indie rock sort of vibe to it. I think that there is a lot more diversity on this record than from what I remember. Obviously, I'm not the biggest Wonder Years fan, so I feel like, it's kind of a partial answer, but I think that it's really good. I think it's a solid ride from start to finish. Some cons that I have about it: there are a fair bit amount of slower tracks. I think some play out a little bit better than others do. I would say more or less than the last track is probably the one that I think hurt me the most in terms of how long it was and how kind of lackluster and anticlimactic it was, considering how well the other tracks were on the record. I would have definitely loved a little bit more of a heavier, aggressive tone or aggressive tracks off the record. I think some of the best ones are more of the rock-based tracks, but I do like the melodic side as well. So I think they just need to find a better balance between the two. I felt like there was a fair bit more of softer, more rockier tracks, and there wasn't enough more edgier, sort of more alternative rock, even kind of delving in deeper. I think that they could have done a little bit more to kind of push it over the edge, but overall I think it is a really solid record. From me not listening to them to actually really liking this record a lot, I think that it is a solid record, and I definitely feel like you should go pick it up. So my overall rating for the Wonder Years Sister Cities, I'm going to be giving it a 9.4 out of 10. I think it's one that I would highly recommend checking out. I think it's unique. I think it really kind of speaks to the alternative vibe of music going on pretty recently. I feel like a lot of bands are going onto that trend of more alternative stuff. You've seen it in Neck Deep, and you've now seen it in the Wonder Years, who have been a band for a very long time. So really unique perspective on this record, considering that I had never listened to the Wonder Years excluding this record so far. So let me know in the comments if I should check out the rest of their discography. Again, I've heard of them, but I really didn't delve deep into it. Let me know what your favorite Wonder Years record is in the comments, and also let me know what your thoughts are on Sister Cities. I'd love to have a conversation about it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. So if you enjoyed this review, please subscribe, please hit that thumbs up. Plenty of awesome stuff coming very soon, so keep an eye out for that. And if you don't, click that notification bell and you'll get notified of when things come out. So my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.